Hey, it's Lou, and here's the thing. The internet upended the news industry. I mean, no shit, not exactly a novel insight. For decades now, media organizations have desperately searched for the next big thing. Blogs, apps, notifications, podcasts, newsletters, paywalls, live events, live stream, virtual reality, voice-activated news, native content, branded content, YouTube shows, etc. One big change, in particular, reshaped much of the industry. In fact, it changed the way newsrooms are staffed and redirected my career. I'm talking about the pivot to video. Many experienced writer-reporters were fired and replaced with young digital producers tasked with pumping out shows and clips for the internet, particularly for Facebook. In hindsight, this move did not work out as planned, and many people, including plaintiffs in a recently unsealed lawsuit, are saying Facebook's dishonesty is to blame. The modern digital news industry exists in the shadow of the duopoly. That's Facebook and Google. These two tech firms direct traffic to news publishers and suck up most of the available digital ad dollars. What they say, what they prioritize, has a huge ripple effect across the news landscape. So, a few years ago, when Mark Zuckerberg declared, "We're entering this new golden age of videos online," media executives took notice. Keep in mind, many news organizations had struggled to make money off of their web offerings. Antonis Kalogeropoulos, a postdoctoral research fellow at the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, told me those digital banners above articles didn't pay much. But video ads, you can charge a premium for that. Facebook nudged this process along by funding a lot of video production, giving it a home on the Facebook platform. In addition, Facebook reworked their algorithm to prioritize video in the newsfeed. Hence, a new phrase started appearing across the digital news ecosystem: pivot to video. A slew of companies, Vice, Mic, Mashable, MTV News, and Bleacher Report among them, cut back on their text pieces to chase video success. Now, take a step back and think about that phrase, pivot to video. Raju Narasetti, former CEO of Gizmodo and now a professor at Columbia University, told me it's the type of language born out of startup culture. No surprise then that a lot of the news organizations that made this pivot were backed by venture capitalists, the type of investors who love the accelerated growth of Silicon Valley tech companies. They were happy to ride Facebook's coattails and chase those sweet engagement metrics that made Zuckerberg's company such a profit powerhouse. Legacy media companies, meanwhile, were finally collaborating with a platform that had eaten their lunch. They jumped in headfirst without considering the consequences. However, things did not work out as planned. Sustainable ad revenue never really made its way to news video publishers, and in early 2018, Facebook tweaked its algorithm yet again to deprioritize news video. So, at the end of the day, a bunch of companies restructured and made expensive investments in video at Facebook's urging, just to have the rug pulled from underneath them a few years later, triggering yet another round of pivots and further restructuring. Media companies have held a grudge. A recent survey reveals that media executives view Facebook more negatively than any other platform. Nick Newman, who conducted the study for the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, wrote, quote, "Many publishers still see the company as arrogant and high-handed, encouraging new content types such as live video, only to change course and withdraw funding." Many journalists are also resentful of Facebook's shoddy metrics. In September 2016, the Wall Street Journal reported that view times on some Facebook videos were inflated between 60 and 80%. Facebook never confirmed the specific size of the error, but they apologized for the mistake, said it was unintentional, and promised to fix things. However, a recently unsealed lawsuit on behalf of a group of advertisers asserts that the numbers were much further off, sometimes as much as 900%. Even worse, the lawsuit claims that Facebook knew about the discrepancy and intentionally kept it secret for more than a year, allowing partners to make plans based on bad data. The plaintiffs, who had access to 80,000 internal Facebook documents, quote an unnamed Facebook employee who said the company made a decision to obfuscate the fact that we screwed up the math. Facebook did not respond to my request for comment by the time I record this video, but they told Nieman Journalism Lab that the suit is without merit. A lot of folks in news media aren't buying. Several journalists have taken to Twitter to throw shade at the company. Benjamin Bailey, a writer for Nerdist, tweeted, "A lot of friends lost their job over this bullshit. Facebook outright lied and pushed this whole pivot to video narrative. It's all a big house of cards." Heidi Moore, a digital media advisor, told me this isn't some isolated incident. There's a pattern of Facebook screwing up the numbers. For example, in 2017, The Guardian reported that Facebook claimed it can reach more millennials in the UK than actual millennials that lived in the UK. It was the same situation in the US, Australia, Ireland, and France. Again, these inflated numbers may have deceived news organizations and misled them about the impact of video at a time when they were pouring tons of resources into it. However, Narasetti told me no one had a gun to the head of executives who made the pivot. A lot of them tend to act like lemmings, chasing whatever the trend is. But if they took a look at what their audience members actually wanted, the ill-fated pivot could have been avoided. Consider, it turns out most people do not prefer video over text. In 2016, Pew released a survey showing that young adults would rather read than watch the news. According to a 2018 survey of news consumers, US and Northern European countries actually want fewer online videos. Nieman, who also conducted that survey, explained to me that Americans and Europeans want to get their news as fast as possible, so text is preferable because you can skim. It's harder to do that with video. You give up control. In addition, Moore told me news organizations struggle with video because videos are relatively expensive and time-consuming. They're difficult to do. For instance, if this piece was just a written article, there would be no camera person, no script supervisor, no teleprompter operator, no editor who will spend the next 3 days cutting this together. I wouldn't have to struggle pronouncing the name Kalogeropoulos. Also, Moore said that news publishers thought that they could easily produce the type of glossy, professional content that comes out of ad agencies. But those have huge budgets and don't have to fit into a news cycle. So instead, news outlets wound up putting together half-assed clips that are often just a disheveled reporter in front of a white wall. I know exactly what she's talking about. Meanwhile, the videos that do best online, so-called snackable content, are usually soft news that is short, emotional, and can be watched with or without sound. Those aren't exactly the characteristics of strong journalism. It's hard to do in-depth reporting that way. So stories that don't fit into that format could have been ignored. So yeah, news outlets were in a tough position. They're still in a tough position. They're still struggling to find the next big thing. Narasetti says the industry shouldn't totally give up on video, by the way. After all, advertisers do have billions to pour into the space as they move away from TV. Moore told me the news media will still need Facebook in the future, but the relationship can't be so one-sided. Not everyone's eggs should be in the Facebook basket. To that end, many of the latest digital news initiatives, like email newsletters, podcasts, and digital subscriptions, are direct to consumer. You don't need Facebook as a middleman distributor. You're not beholden to the whims of a tech company with a mysterious algorithm that sure does seem to make a whole lot of mistakes. Okay, I'm gonna go live my life.